Hey guy, okay, I'll be honest, I tried to record this earlier and I was muted. So this is take two. I know I said I'd do something like a Boa or like an Utsa video, but like this deck is sick. This deck is sick. I just want to keep in mind that, like I'm mostly going to be playing off meta decks, mostly just because I don't really like playing meta decks. Like in '06, I was playing Dofi just because like I found him to be very fun and it was something new. I personally don't like it when everyone's playing meta and like everyone's just playing the same thing because I don't want to watch the same thing. I'd rather see variety. And what other variety is this leader? Blue purple Croc with the orange shirt and the yellow hook. So we're technically playing 4 colors at once. All jokes aside, a little fun backstory with this. I started playing One Piece at like the worst time possible, in my opinion. I started playing One Piece. I'm over in the West, in Canada. So I started playing One Piece like after the pre-release of 05. All of the boxes and all the cards were like scalped to hell. So everything was just super expensive. There was a toxic meta with Sakazuki and Enel. So it was really hard to like actually crack into the game just because it was super oppressive. I just tried to get in for fun. Like I wasn't looking to spend all that much money. I'll be honest, I was kind of coming to One Piece from Pokemon. So I don't know. It was just a huge like price hike in my opinion. The only reason why I started playing Croc was because I bought some guy's bulk and I found this leader and I'm like, okay, like I like blue and purple, let's try it out. And I got fucking destroyed. So this leader just kind of is more nostalgic to me than most people just because it was technically my first leader. Anyways, that's a bit of backstory. Time to actually go over the list. And actually, I like how the actual sim organized this because all the key cards are like beside each other and all the event cards are also beside each other. So I'm going to go over all of the key cards. Just because we're playing Bon Clay, you could assume that we're going second, and the reason why we go second is we want to speedrun to 7 as soon as possible. I'll explain why in a bit, but we want to go second. Ideally you mull for Bon Clay or you search him out with Mr. 3, and then on your 4-down turn you play him to bump up to 5, and then the next turn you're on 7. What this card does, play up to 1 character with Cross Guild or Baroque in its like attribute title name thing, and you can just play it out. So sort of like Jinbei, but like for Baroque and Cross Guild. So your targets are either Miss Sunday here, which ramps you up another one, which will take you to 8, or it'll be to Bones, which is the card we want more of. Just because if your leader has Baroque Works, this character gains +1 power for every 2 events in your trash. That is why we're playing with a shit ton of events. I think we're playing with 14 events. So the max power this guy can go to is 13. So let's say you have all your events in trash. Like you're swinging with a 13k body and that's without any Dawn attached. So that's pretty powerful. Also on play, draw 2 and trash 1 from hand. So you could already assume from this card alone, we want to like fill our trash with as much events as possible just so this guy gets bumped up like as soon as possible. And we're kind of ramping up to Croc and Bones. So that's how these 2 cards work. I'll be honest, these 2 cards are just 2k counters. Just because we're playing it with a shit ton of events, you obviously have to have your Red Rocks and your Gravity Blades. Like these 2 cards are just vital in any blue deck in my opinion. Sabo's is a little iffy. It's more of a tech card just because, you know, it's hard to get value out of it, but like when you get value, it's pretty damn good. You can bounce a 7 cost or less back to the owner's hand. I'll be honest, I can't imagine you want to bounce any of your characters back, but you know, you could bounce cards like your Boas, you can bounce like Boas, Cavendishes, Hawkins if you can manage to rest all your characters. You can bounce out Lufutaro from Pluffy. You can bounce Rebecca's Salbos. You can also bounce Hody. Actually, I think that was the last one on my mind. I know Hody is kind of an iffy card to bounce back, but they are technically taking life, so it's kind of a win-win there. That's why it's a tech. It's super situational, but when you need it, like it's a really great card. 0 cost event. So as you can see, we're playing with a shit ton of events and a lot of non-counter. I think half of our deck is non-counter, so you know this card comes in handy. Also, something I just thought of. So this card powers up every 2 events. So what you could literally do with your 0 drop is trash an event. So you're trashing 2 events, and this card just gets pumped by 1. So small little tidbit there. Our last event is Okamawe. I think it's Okamawe in English. I'm not too sure. But so this card is kind of busted. -1 Dawn. If your leader has Baroque works, you can choose one of your characters. It becomes the new target of the attack. Why this is so good is, first of all, we're playing out chub cards like Mr. 3. Bentham, kind of. Sunday is super situational, and like this Sunday as well. This Sunday is also good. So if your opponent, and let's be honest, like Dofi is going to be meta. Some Dofis are going to be playing with Perfume Femur, or there's just going to be cards that are unblockable attacks. So what you could literally do is use Okamawe, and you could force the attack into your blocker anyway. So you're not using the blocker, you're using the event to put the attack onto the blocker, which is kind of funny because it's like it's a wasted event. And also that's where this card comes in. So it's a blocker, but if your leader has a Baroque in the type, return up to 1 event card from the trash to your hand. So literally what you could do is play Okamawe, force the attack onto Sunday, and then just get this card back. That's also why we're only running 2, just because you're constantly recycling it with Sunday while sort of building your board. And also, another target for Okamawe is Bones if he's high enough in power. Because if they're swinging like 9k, and like we have 8 events in trash, this guy's a 10k. So like we could force a swing into this guy and nothing happens. So they just wasted like 4 Dawn, which could have been used to do something else, and we're not really affected by the attack. Like the most we lost is 1 Dawn. So that's pretty good. That's how this card works. Croc, a lot of people already know this card. On play -2. If your leader is Baroque, just gain a life, which is pretty good. So we're not afraid to take life. And also, when your opponent attacks, draw 1 card and trash 1 card from your hand. So again, both Bones and Croc, they both like draw cards and trash cards from hand. So that's also another way we could get more events into the trash. So that's pretty good. That is pretty good. I have 2 matches up for you guys. One's against a Carrot and the other's against a Bonnie. So yeah, without further ado, let's go. Okay, alright, so our first match is against the Carrots. Again, we're looking for the Bon Clay, Croc, or Bones. Unfortunately, we find none of them. We find a Croc, but that's whatever. I think with Croc, you're not really afraid to take life because you're eventually going to be healing yourself with the Croc anyways. We got a lucky life there with the Bon Clay, and I love that Carrot art. It's so sick. It has no business of being that cool in my opinion. So that's actually a strong move. I actually thought he was going to try and kill the Bon Clay, but I think the Carrot's a really good move, just so he could save his blocker, and he doesn't waste an attack into leader. And yeah, we're getting weird triggers. We have like 3 Valentine. I keep saying Valentine is double finger. I don't know why I keep saying Valentine. So what we could do here is we could go 8k into lead, and then we could Salbos the Carrot. And the reason why we don't Salbos the blocker is because, so we either take his life here or we take out the Carrot blocker, which is pretty good, and then we just Salbos the Carrot. The reason why we don't Salbos the blocker is because it's 5 Dawn to play out the 5-drop Carrot. So, you know, that's a lot of Dawn investment, and most of his turn value kind of goes away just because he has to play the Carrot again to get it back on the field. We take that life, and now I believe we're at 9 Dawn now. 2 blockers. That art looks so cool. Anyways, so we have Okamawe, which is pretty good. We attack 5. He could either counter or take life. We don't really care whichever one he does. He counters out with the Beppo. I think that's the Odyssey Beppo. So yeah, he plays out the Milky. Strange card to play this late in my opinion. I usually like playing Milky first or early, just so I can have it on board for like later plays. It feels like kind of a waste. to like play her late just because it's 2 Dawn and you're losing a 2k counter. So he's attacking us for 5. We do have an option for playing the Croc. Now I would only play the Croc if we don't have cards to counter, or if we want to get events into trash because there's a bones on the field. Since there's none of that, I don't think it's worth it to take the loss on Dawn. Here's a weird situation, so I'm gonna pause it here. So we got the Sunday trigger. I think we're at, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're at 7. So we can technically play her out for free, like -2 Dawn, and then we get 1 back, so we're at 6. And then so we draw 1 from the Sunday effect, and then the next turn we just play Croc, right? And we do the same thing. The only reason why I don't do that is because I want to be at 9 Dawn so I could play Croc and then have 1 Dawn for Okamawe. So kind of a technicality there. It could go both ways, but just because he has a full board, I'd rather have the Okamawe as like a line of defense, just in case stuff goes bad. I think the Inuarashi play is also really smart, just because the on play freezes the board, so he doesn't have to turn the carrot. So it kind of forces me to attack into leader, which I think he wants, given that his hand side is much smaller than mine. He wants cards right now. So if he turns the carrot, he's gonna force out his blockers, or just like lose the carrot, which he doesn't want, obviously. Top decking the Gravity Blade is pretty bad for them, not us. It's pretty sick. Now we can use the Gravity Blade now on either the 2 carrots or the carrot and Inuarashi. I'd rather save it just because, again, he has a full board and we're at low life, so I'd rather do the heal and place another Croc on board. And honestly, like, I honestly think that like he's gonna keep he can only target the Bon Clay with the carrot, so actually, I don't know. I don't know there. I still would rather like the heal. Again, we're in a situation where we do have counter and there's no bones on the field, so we don't want to, like, you know, give away Dawn and give away counter. That Red Rock is gonna save our life because he played the Zoro, and this is what we save Red Rock for. It's for plays like that. So he's gonna do the KO immune. I honestly don't know why. Just because we don't have any cards that do KO effects, but I guess he doesn't know that. Our goal here is to get the blocker. Is to get the blocker away, so he could just freely KO the Inuarashi and carrots. He obviously sees through that, so he's just gonna give it away. So 9k to 6k is gonna force out his blocker. So we want 6 Dawn. I think we're at 9 Dawn right now. So we have 2 Dawn to use. So we're gonna use 2 Dawn. Yep. 11 into 6. And then we need 6 more Dawn to get rid of the Zoro. And then I guess the Inuarashi gets to hang around for a bit longer. So he could either... The fact that he's taking long makes me... Yeah, he's gonna counter. But then countering kind of doesn't make sense. Just because he loses his entire hand. And I'm guessing that, you know, he felt like he had game. Just because we had no swings left. And he had like a board. He had like 5-6 swings. And we only had 1 life. So that's pretty good. I think here he plays out a Bonnie and a Pedro, actually. I honestly thought he was going to put... He actually might. I don't remember. He actually might put like all his Dawn on Bonnie. Not Bonnie, carrots. And then just swing into a Croc. Which would suck. Again, he's not swinging into the Bon Clay because he knows that he could always freeze it. So he's going to attack us, we counter, and then Pedro, bang. And then this is where the Grab Blade comes in. We take out those 2 bodies, so we don't KO. The Pedro isn't KO'd, it's bottom deck, so our Bon Clay stays alive, which is good. We're going to attack into the Inuarashi, clear the board. And now he has no cards and no board, which kind of sucks. We're going to search out the Sunday, because we're obviously going to use Okamawe. He's going to invest everything into just KOing us. And then we just... The power of Okamawe. Just 1 Dawn. Just, you take the hit. and then we just win. It's pretty nasty. It's pretty nasty. There you go, 9. Hit him with another 9. And then we can kill with the leader, but that's not my style. My style is kill him with like the lowest cost of body on the board. Actually, it would have been funnier. Now I think about it. It would have been funnier if I put the Okamawe onto the Bentham or Bunkley and then KO'd him with Mr. 3. That would have been funnier. But I think, you know, there was a chance he could have played Dofi and then KO'd the Bunkley. So I guess it could have went either way. But anyways, yeah, that's the power of this deck. We didn't really see the bones, the Daz bones, or the Croc just because we never really hit it. But like again, even without those, this deck is still pretty strong just because Okamawe is pretty damn good. And that searcher is so crucial because like we play it out early. It's mostly ignored just because it's not really a threat to battle, but it could act as a pseudo blocker with Okamawe. And like you saw us search the Sunday with the Mr. 3. So literally what our game plan was going to be next turn if he somehow builds a board is just play out Sunday, block with Sunday, and then get Okamawe back. And then we use Okamawe and force the attack onto someone else. And that's like 2 blockers. And we still had a shit ton of cards in hand. So that event is kind of busted paired with the 3-drop Sunday blocker just because you could fish it out. That's why we're only running 2 because we want to add more cards. And honestly, if you're cycling with Sunday, you kind of don't need that many because you're just using the same card over and over again. But yeah, that's the carrot game. Let's go over to the Bonnie match. Oh yeah, that's cool. This is like my first game of the day, so it's pretty good. So we got our Croc. We got our Croc, and we got the Bentham. The Bentham's the most important card, and we got the bones off the top. So pretty good. Pretty good start already. All we need is the 7-drop Croc, and then I think we're smooth sailing. This, I'll be honest, it's a very long match, just because it's Bonnie. Not a lot of cards are going to be attacking. And there's our Croc. Okay, we're set. Okay, so normally here, we would play out the Bunkley first, and then swing 6k, but just because he left a Dawn up, he's obviously going to rest the Bunkley. So he played it after. I'll be honest, I don't know why he took the life. Actually, I guess Bonnie wants cards. But like, yeah, like either way, if they're going to take life, I think that was a good value play. Like even though we didn't use the 1 Dawn, like, you know, it's still pretty good that we were able to take a life with 5 and keep our Bunkley. So he plays out the Rouge. The Rouge is going to be annoying. But at least we could start off with our bones. I will say a bit of a disclaimer. We don't hit that many events during this match, so bones doesn't get all that powered. That is, I guess, a downfall of this deck specifically, just because like if you don't hit events, you're not really gaming with bones. But yeah, so that's the bones. We draw 2, trash 1. Ideally we get an event here, but like unfortunately we didn't. Okay, so he's at 7 Dawn. I'd imagine he Hawkins here, or he could play Cavendish here. And we're at 3 life. We're gonna play Croc our next turn, so I think we're okay with taking a life. He's gonna search. He gets the Cavendish, pretty good. So we know what his next play is already. Attach 1 Dawn, swing. Or maybe not yet. Okay, so not yet. She wants to. I'm guessing she wants to swing 7k, or maybe even 8k. Right, because she gets the Dawn back, so she has 1 on leader, so she can attach 2 onto herself. She attaches 1. And here's where the Salbo's trigger is pretty nutty. So you could activate the card's main effect, and what we do is same idea with the carrot. We bounce back the Cavendish just because he loses the value of that 5 Dawn. Like he either wastes 5 Dawn to play out the Cavendish, or he just keeps moving forward with what he wants to do in terms of tempo. I think that Cavendish really set him back because I think he's used to playing Bonnie with Cavendish. He didn't expect that to happen. Because I think what happens next is just like a bunch of he does a lot of misplays, which is kind of unfortunate, in my opinion at least. But anyways, I'm rambling. We attack with the Croc, 7 into lead. We want to get rid of that Bonnie Searcher. He can rest. I'd suggest he rests the Bones. I don't know why he rests the Bon Clay. I guess he wants it to be guaranteed rested, but honestly the highest we're going to be hitting is 5. So I would actually rest the Bones just because he's a slightly higher hitter. We attack into the Bonnie. Let's see what he does. He could either block or lose the Bonnie. I'll be honest, I would probably just lose the Bonnie. He blocks out, sure. We just 6k into Bonnie, and there we go. We use Croc, we get a life back, and now we're at equal life. Now we're gaming. This is sort of what we want our board to be like, just with more events in the trash. Like we have a Bon Clay, we have a Croc, Bones, which ideally sort of gets powered up a lot just by the events in trash, and then the 8-drop Croc. So that's a pretty tall board. The Bon Clay could be taller just based on what he plays next. I'd assume you play Shanks here. Yeah, you go into the Croc. Here's me searching for an event or an Okama Way. You see how I left the 1 down up? I'm just sort of betting that I'm getting an Okama Way. Unfortunately, we don't. So unfortunately, our Bon Clay dies. Because if we get the Okama Way, then we can just force the attack into the Croc. And then he either has to turn his blocker sideways or just let the Bon Clay survive. He plays 2 blockers, which is pretty good. Okay. So next, how much down are we at? We are at 8 down. So we could play the Croc. Or we could play the 3-drops. Sorry, Mr. 3, not 3-drop. The Mr. 3 to search out Okama Way, which we find. That's pretty good. So I'll be honest. So up till this point, the plan was always to play Croc and then just not do anything, because we don't want him to rest our board, because that gives more targets for Carrot to, like, he could probably swing into leader and rest another character and then try and wipe our board, empty out our hand. We don't want to attack him right now just because we're building a pretty tall board, and we don't want to waste our counter just yet. But let's see what we do here. So because we got the Mr. 3, let's actually look at the screen for a bit. So because we play out the Mr. 3, we got the Okama Way. So we can play, or we can Okama Way into Mr. 3, and then play out the blocker for 3 to get Sunday out. So then we Okama Way into Mr. 3, and then block the next attack with Sunday, not Robin, and then get Okama Way back, and then just use it again. So those are different routes we can go through. I'm actually kind of curious to see what I do, because there's a lot more we can do right now. I'll be honest, ideally we get a Graph Blade, but Graph Blades are not finding us today, which kind of sucks, because those are like a lot of targets. Those are a lot of great targets to Graph Blade. So I go 11. He rests the Daz Bones, of course. It's a higher hitter, so he's gonna block that. Okay, cool. Then we just go into lead. So I think the only reason why we attack, I know I said we don't want to attack, but I think the reason why we want to attack, actually, now I think about it, is our board is acting like a pseudo blocker, if that makes sense, because now that he sees card rested, he could play Dofi and that's his entire turn. He could play Dofi and then freeze the Croc with the Carrot, which I think is a pretty good move if he has the Dofi. But like, if he doesn't have the Dofi, he's going to have to swing into board, and then we have cards to defend board, or we have if he just like goes mega like 15 into like Croc or to Bones, like we could just Okama Way into the Mr. 3. So we do have ways out of it. We do lose a Dawn in the process. We're at 8 Dawn, so I personally don't think we care, because we're going to hit 9 Dawn and that enables the other Croc anyways. And also we have the Sunday as well. So even if we lose the Okamawe, we could still get it back. So it's not all that bad. Like, we kind of want to use this card. So let's see what he attacks. Right now, personally, I think the best move here is just to play Dofi and freeze the Croc with the carrots. So that forces cards out of my hand and I can't do anything this turn. So, okay, so he's playing 2 Dawn onto carrots. What comes to my mind is Rosie or a kid. Maybe he Rosies into Cavendish. Same logic as before. We have cards we want, so we don't want to use effect. We do just counter outs. I know it's a 2K. But you know, we don't want to let go of that Sunday. And we use Okamawe to protect the bones. He plays Kid. He doesn't have a Dawn to attach, but he does have cards to defend the Kid. Or sorry, counter to defend the Kid. So he could turn it sideways to play out another card. That's actually what I would assume the Rosie was for. But yeah, a lot of strange plays from this Bonnie player, I'll be honest. But then he also makes a lot of good plays. Like, I'll be honest, like, I was reviewing this footage like before I actually start recording. Like, I'm like, does he know how to play Bonnie or does? Because like, he makes good Bonnie plays, but then he also makes like questionable ones, like this one. Like, if he's not gonna play a card, I don't understand why he turns the Kid sideways. But I guess it's free fodder. Like, we just try to kill the Kid. So we want to leave up 4 Dawn, 3 Dawn for the Sunday, and then 1 Dawn for the Okamawe. So let's see, we have 9. I think we go Mega into Kid. Mega into Kid, he's probably gonna block it. He's gonna block it and then rest the bones. And then we can, I guess, try and go for Carrot. We don't want to put out the blocker first, obviously, because he's gonna just rest the blocker. So we want to like time our attacks. So we're gonna go big. 13 into 8. So he either blocks or gives us like 3 2K counters. I think. Yeah, 3 2K counters. So let's see what he does. So he's gonna rest Daz Bones. That's fair. That's completely fair. And then maybe block. Maybe block. I don't imagine he counters. Because like, he just actually no, he could counter. He could counter. What am I saying? He does counter. Okay. So he has the 3 drop. Sorry, the +3, and then the 2K. He needs 1 more. So there's a Cavendish. So unfortunately, Cavendish had to go bye-bye. So we could go 2 ways. We could just all in on the Kid. I'd rather go into the carrots and either bait out the blocker or bait out the counter again, because we still have cards to defend board. We play the Sunday, which guarantees us to get Okamawe back. And then we could just do that into another card. So if he does like a big swing into Croc or Bones, 100% we just block it. I'll be honest, like, again, this is what I'm saying, like, you need event cards for Bones to like actually start to get going. But you know, at this point, like, if he does an all in onto Bones, I'm not sure if I value it all that much, just because, you know. I mean, I guess we could counter just so at least guarantee we get what's called Okamawe, because like, if he does end up pressing the blocker his next turn, then it is kind of useless on the field. So I guess we let it die. But I'm assuming is he attacks the carrot and then we just block the carrot attack. Yeah. So he goes carrot into lead. No way he goes into Croc. He freezes Croc. Yeah, carrot into lead, we just block that. We don't use card action because, again, we want to heal still, and we have counter cards. So there we go. We get our Okamawe back, and we get a red rock, which is pretty big. But I don't think we want to waste it just yet. I think our board is too thin because we technically only have 1 attack. What I think we do actually is just play out the Croc and do nothing. Just because we don't want... He has big bodies on the field, and we have no way of getting rid of it. Yes, we have the 6-drop red rock, but I don't want to do that just yet. So we're just gonna gain life. Yep, that's the move I would do. So we have 4 life. So like, now we have 4 life. He has 2 life. So we kind of want him to attack into us. First of all, to bait out Okamawe, or just to get like more cards, because like now our hand side, sorry, now our hand is kind of a little iffy, just because we have 3 non-counter, a Croc we can't really use just because there's no other cards to play out in tempo, and we don't want to get rid of the red rock. Because Bones is off the field, I kind of want to keep events in my hand, especially because he's playing Kid and Hawkins. So I'll be honest, I think what we, because we have 2 Crocs, and I think what we do is we use their ability to draw and trash one, just to find either more counter or more events. Because now he's building board. We're looking for gravity. Okay, that's a lot of cards. That's a big number. So he's obviously gonna go into leader. He freezes the Croc, so he's not gonna attack into the Croc. Yeah, that's me like double checking. I'm like, oh, should I have used the Croc ability? Kind of low on counter. So there you go, 2K. So here's what makes me think he knows how to play Bonnie, because this is a little strange. So like, actually no, he does the great move. So like we have Grav Blade. So right now I'm eyeing Hawkins. But to do that, my characters need to be rested in order for Grav Blade to work. So I'm swinging into Kid and hoping he just rests the Croc on field, but he doesn't. That tells me he knows what he's doing, because he's probably guessing I have an event that clears his Hawkins. Unfortunately, he doesn't take the bait. He rests my leader, which is the correct thing to do. Because now I can't get rid of his Hawkins, because if I try to Grav Blade it, he just rests my Croc. So it's a similar value. Grav Blading the Carrot and the Rouge, that loses his value on the Restodon with the Rouge, and he just has a blocker. And honestly, I'll be honest, by the way he's playing, I don't think he's going to leave a Dawn up. I think he's sort of... I don't know. It's very strange. But yeah, I don't think he's going to leave a Dawn up, so I kind of want to swing with everything to get rid of his Kid and his Hawkins, and then just like go for lethal next turn. Because we have 2 Red Rocks, which is pretty strong. So we could technically Red Rock... We could try and bait out Hawkins with a big swing into Kid, because he doesn't have any counter, and then Red Rock the Kid. So that's pretty strong. I'll be honest, if I was the Bonnie, I would swing into board. The board is way too big and tall for Bonnie, because Bonnie has nothing on the board. So let's see what he does next. So 6 into lead. We can counter out. We can take it or we can counter out. I'm playing a little safe. He plays the Kid, which is weird, because you want the Dawn on the Kid. I don't understand it. There's a lot of like questionable stuff he does, but then he does the thing like resting the leader instead of the character, and I'm just like, oh, he knows how to play Bonnie. It's a very weird situation for me. So this first swing, just because he has no Dawn to rest my characters with, I can just do an empty swing and then just check if he has counter. He doesn't, is what I'm assuming. So we're saving 6 Dawn. So we save 1 Dawn for Okama Way. We save 6 Dawn for Red Rock. So we attack the Kid with the Croc with 11. He would need 8. He would need 3 cards. So he doesn't have 3 cards. So actually he would need 2 2Ks, which is also kind of hard to do. Then we just Red Rock that guy. And then, yeah, we just do that. And then at this point it's just GG's, because he has no way to clear my board and to establish the blocker at the same time. Even if he does establish a blocker, even if he establishes a blocker, like we have the Red Rock still. So pretty good. Okay, so let's actually look at this end board. So the Shank, I always thought he had Shanks like in hand, and like I'm like, you should just Shanks one of the Crocs and just clear board. But, like I guess the Shanks was in his life. This is the Cavendish we bumped back to his hand, which is pretty funny. He got no value out of the Cavendish. from that one event, from this that. See, I'm telling you, Sabo's it's weird, but like when it hits hard. Like that. That's just a high value play in my opinion, because like he wasted 5 Dawn essentially. Like I know you get 2 back, but like at that point, at that state of the game, like you're not really getting anything out of it. That's why we bounce cards like that, just because we're forcing them to commit to the, like with Carrot and Cavendish actually. And this goes the same way with like the any blockers. Any blockers actually. Like we force it back to their hands, so yes, they still have the card for counter, but if they want the value out of that card, like they need to spend the Dawn again, so it kind of makes their last turn like less efficient, if that makes sense. So super fun tech. I think that's a great card, and it's super good in this deck because of the bones. I know we didn't get to see like the bones get up to like 10k, but it does happen more often than not. It's just this, like look at our life. 3 events in life, that never happens. At least when I play, that never happens. Like these are events we could have had in hand. Like even if we didn't counter, we could have had these. But again, like you see the power of this, like just having Crocs, having big bodies, and then just being able to control boards like that. I think this deck is super fun. Probably what I'm gonna try in 09, but for now, I gotta record the outro, which is like that way. So yeah, that is my blue purple Croc deck. I'll be honest, it's just the one that York's played. If I had to change anything, it would probably just to be like 1 Sabos and have 3 Gum Jet Gatlings, because there is value in just like using this to get 2 events into trash, or just to get rid of a non-counter in hand, so to like reduce card size for a leader effect. I forgot to explain this actually. So 1 Dawn after you, because like I kept attaching a Dawn to leader and just like not doing anything with it. So after you activate an event with 1 Dawn on leader, you can draw a card if I have 4 or less cards in hand. So it's sort of just refills my hand every time I use an event. Ideally, like you have a low card size, you use a Come My Way, and then you just draw one. Like you do whatever you Come My Way into Bones, into Mr. 3, or into Sunday, and then you just get a card. You get an additional card from your leader effect. So that's how that works. Super situational. It's not the strongest leader ability, but it is helpful sometimes. I'll be honest, I've been solo testing this by myself, and you know there are ways to like sort of cycle through your deck like that, because it helps you find your other events that you want to trash as well. So not the best leader ability, but it is a leader ability at least. But yeah, anyways, those are the matches against Carrot and Bonnie. I know we didn't get to see the value in Bones, but like I promise you, we got one. I actually played against a Dofi, and it's funny because like that was my first time playing the deck, and we just controlled the shit out of his board, just like with a shit ton of events. I'm gonna put a screenshot of it. 3, 2, 1, bang, right here. So you see like he has no cards. He has no cards, which is kind of weird for Dofi. Like even if he's playing Weevil and he has no cards, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, like you see our Bones, it's like +3 just because of all the events in our trash. We have a Croc, we have 2 Crocs on the board, Bones at 3, so that's like a 9k, 9k, a 7k, and then just like leader. The only thing I will say is this deck kind of loses to like Rush, just because you don't have enough time to you know, play out your Crocs, because again you are losing Dawn and your hand side is kind of getting low, and you don't have that much stuff in trash for Bones if they're just constantly swinging at you, right? You saw the value play in Sabos with the count. That's such a big play. Like I mean it's such a great card if you hit it. Like man, if you hit it, you hit it. Like that's all I gotta say. These 2 are sort of staples to any blue deck, and then you saw the value and Come My Way. Like we gotta save our board by just forcing them into swing into a smaller body. And yeah, that's pretty much the Croc deck. Definitely a deck I'm gonna be trying in 09. I'm already trying it in 08. It kind of sucks. Like I'll tell you what I'm doing in place. It's not the best, but I am playing the Baroque Works event. Let me actually search it up. So we are playing with the Baroque. We are playing with this event, so again, it's another event that boosts up Bones, and it's also just like a searcher. I know you can't search out Bond Clay, but like it is a searcher. Like you can search, so you just want to mull for this guy. And then I'm replacing this card with, so this sort of helps us. I actually kind of like this card even in 09, just because again, it's Baroque Works, so it is searchable. But also when opponent attacks -1 Dawn, if you're -1 Dawn, if your leader includes Baroque Works, you can add 1 Dawn as active. I'll be honest, this card kind of doesn't make sense. I think this was made for a Lakers Croc more than this, because let's see what Lakers Croc. Sorry, when a Dawn is returned to deck through one of your effects, add a Dawn instead of active. So the way it works is if Wednesday does a -1 Dawn, that technically counts for the Croc effect. So you get 2 Dawn actually, because after you -1 Dawn with Wednesday, you get 1 active. So I think it was made for that deck more than this one. But again, if you use, so like, you saw that we were on a lot of turns where we just had 8 Dawn. So like, you know, we play the Croc, we -2, then we get a life, and then that's it. And then we don't have a Dawn for Okamawe. This card kind of helps with that because you just -1 Dawn and just get it back active, which sort of allows you to get the max value of your Dawn while still playing this event. Because like, if we're playing with 7, like you kind of just lose the life, which is super powerful, and you miss the cycling with his effect. So I think Wednesday really does work in this deck. Not as valuable because it's not a ramp card, but it's more so like a recycle card, if that makes sense. That's just like stuff I have made changes to in 08. I'll probably do some testing on the side. I'm not sure if I'll make another video for this in 09, but I think this deck is super spicy. I love this deck. When you hit, you just feel it. It's so nice. But yeah, that's my Croc video. Unless there's another off-meta leader that I'm just like, ooh, right? My next video is probably going to be Boa. I promise. I've been saying Boa videos for like the past like 5 videos. The Boa video is coming soon. It's also one of my favorite leaders to play, especially with Dofi sort of being like meta. Like everyone's playing him, so I'm just like, okay, whatever. I'm just going to play another blue leader. In my opinion, sorry, this is just me rambling, but in my opinion, I actually think Dofi and Boa are like the 2 most perfect blue cards or blue leaders. Just because, like, what does blue want to do? Blue wants to manipulate their deck and they play with tempo. And Boa and Dofi kind of do that perfectly. Like their leaders are perfectly designed for that. So like with this card, like you reveal, like, you know, everyone knows how Dofi plays. Like you show the top card of your deck. If it's 4 or less Warlords, you play for free, and then you can do the on-play effect. So you get the tempo with, if you put a Jinbei up there, you could, you know, play out the Jinbei, then get a Boa, or let's say a Weevil or another card. So you're building board fast. That's what tempo is. I personally think that like the starter deck kind of makes this leader cracked. Like he's pretty good. He's already pretty good without the starter deck, but the starter deck kind of just rocket ships him. But he like, just going by base leader alone, I think Dofi is like a perfect blue leader just because it does exactly what blue wants to do, and that's tempo. Boa is similar to Dofi. They play similar engines, but like her effect is a little different. Her playstyle is more disruption and like disrupting tempo, and maintaining card advantage. So like you may activate this when a character leaves from one of your abilities. So that's like an event like Red Rock or Gravity Blade, or that's like any card that bounces or bottom decks a card. Any of that. If you have 5 or less cards, you draw a card. So you're constantly refilling your hand size, and you're removing their board with like all the blue events. So like in terms of what blue wants to do, that is like disrupting tempo and deck manipulation with the Peronas and the Dofis to ensure that you get the card you want for certain combos, like whether you're deciding what you're going to draw or what card you're going to play out. I think these 2 decks are like perfect for blue. It's just that starter deck is pretty fucking cracked, I'll be honest. But yeah, Boa video coming soon, I promise. That was me rambling. If you made it to the end, thank you so much. If you liked, I never know how to do these outros, but yeah, like, I mean, I guess if you liked it, leave a like. If you want more off meta, like again, this is an off meta channel. We're not really going to be playing meta leaders. I don't really like doing that myself. I personally don't want. I want to have more fun than I want to win, if that makes sense. So that's why I'm having like more fun with these off meta. I don't want to sort of be saturated with what everyone's playing, so that's sort of why I'm doing this. But yeah, if you like more off meta leaders, I'm gonna be doing more off meta leaders, so stay tuned. And if you have any changes that you suggest, because I'll be honest, like I really want to play Croc just because it was my first leader in this game. So yeah, if you have any suggestions, please leave them down below. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. See ya.